Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So last week, Josh Duggar, he was found guilty on charges of receiving and possessing CP. Now the very next day, we found out that his sister, Jana Duggar, had actually gotten a citation back in September for child endangerment, on a child endangerment charge. Somehow that was kept a secret for 3 months. This family has been under a microscope for the past definitely for the past 3 months, but longer than that, since April when Josh was initially arrested for these charges. Like, everyone has been looking into the Duggars. Everybody's been keeping a close eye on them. But somehow the fact that Jana Duggar got charged with a child endangerment charge, no one knew about that. Josh, he is found guilty. And the very next day, this information comes out about what happened with Jana back in September. Now, a lot of people are speculating that maybe Jim Bob leaked this information to kind of take the heat off Josh. You know, a lot of people feel like Jim Bob will absolutely sacrifice his girls for Josh. A lot of people talk about how he has defended Josh at the expense of his daughters. And I do feel the same way. For him to get up on the stand at the pretrial and say he doesn't remember, I just can't even imagine how that hurt his daughters. For them to hear that their dad does not remember the details of their assault, it's just devastating, right? It's just devastating. But anyways, I put out a video. I actually uploaded it last night. I made it public this morning. Even though this information came out last week, I was unavailable to film until yesterday morning. So I recorded my video. I put it up just this morning, and now Jana Duggar, she is speaking out and she is telling us what happened. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. If I say Jana Duggar instead of Jana Duggar, I apologize. It happens sometimes when names are close, like Mackenzie and Macy. You know, Eminem. So sometimes when the names are kind of similar, I tend to kind of do that. So if I do say Jana and you guys know that I meant Anna, I do apologize, or vice versa. So Jana decided to break her silence on her charge that she got back in September of child endangerment. She decided she wanted to tell her story, and she'd done so after various outlets reported what they thought happened. So she says, I'm only sharing this because the media has been having a field day with it all. I prefer a more private life, but I know my last name means that everything we do is open to public criticism and interest, especially during this time. Yes, girl, I'm sorry. That's true. That's absolutely true. In the midst of, her brother getting convicted of SA crimes, her parents covering up what took place of him, they're open to criticism, absolutely. All the years they were on the TV show 19 Kids and Counting, they have a lot of criticism, being thrown their way right now. Rightfully so, right? Jana then proceeded to tell the facts of what took place on September 10th, 2021, September of this year. She said, I was babysitting a few months ago when one of the children wandered outside alone. A passerby who saw the child called the police. This resulted in a written citation as well as a follow-up with child welfare, who concluded that it was an accident and the child was unharmed. They recognized that this was a case of a child slipping out of the house when you turn your back for a moment. It all happened so quickly and was scary. I'm grateful for law enforcement and those who protect and serve our community. I was certainly never arrested like some may have implied. In the end, I was just upset at myself that it had happened at all. But so thankful it all ended safely. And that's truly what mattered the most to me. Now, even in my video, I talked about, what was going around. So it was going around that she fell asleep and one of the children slipped out. A lot of the things that we were hearing is that she was watching, Josh and Anna's kids, and then one of the smaller ones slipped out because Jana fell asleep. Now, according to Jana, she's saying, turn your back for a moment, and the child slipped out. So according to her story, she wasn't asleep. Really, we'll probably never know. Maybe she was asleep. We don't know that. Maybe she's too embarrassed to admit that. Or really, maybe that's really what it was. You guys, I have 6 kids, and let me tell you guys, anybody that knows this, especially small ones, them boogers are fast. Them boogers are fast. You could be in the kitchen washing dishes, and your living room right there, and you're watching them and they're watching TV, and then you look down to text your mom to get the recipe for what you want to cook that night, and then you look back up and they're just gone. They're just not there, and you're like, where did the kid go, you know? So they are very quick. So I do believe it's very possible that that could have happened the way that she is saying, that, you know, she turned her back for a second and the kid got away, got out, slipped out, and someone passing by saw the child, called the cops. And she says, you know, she says, I'm thankful for the police and that things happened the way that it happened. No one was harmed. And she says she feels terrible. And just from watching the show and the little bit that I kind of, you know, feel like I know of Jana, I definitely think she probably feels terrible. I think she probably felt terrible. She probably feels terrible. It probably really upset her to know that that happened and that that child could have potentially gotten harmed while on her watch. So I do feel bad. I do feel like, you know, anybody putting out videos talking crap about Jana for this, I feel like that's really unfair. She is not a parent. She has no children of her own, and she's constantly watching children, and she just made a simple mistake. And because of her last name, her mistakes are going to be, you know, magnified times 10, and we're all going to criticize her and ridicule her, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I think, you know, we need to offer her a little grace. Now, according to the Elm Spring District Country Clerk, Jana is expected to appear in court next month. In Arkansas, endangerment of a minor is considered a misdemeanor. It's conceivable that Jana could be sentenced up to 90 days in jail, but most likely just going to be punished with a fine, which that's what I hope. I talked about this in my video from this morning. I hope that it's just a fine and definitely not her having to go to jail. I just don't think that would be right. Now, in the wake of this citation, it was not an arrest, just a citation. Numerous family members have come out to defend Jana. Her sister Jessa wrote, bottom line, it was an innocent mistake. She was babysitting and one of the kids slipped out the door unnoticed, but it ended safely. Could have happened to anyone. She also added that her sister is without question one of the most amazing women that she has ever known, and that she would trust her kids, or that she trusts her kids with Jana any day of the week. Jessa added, do me a favor, give the girl a break, and all you perfect humans, go back to living your lives. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. You know, I think there's a time for, you know, outrage. Josh Duggar, outrage. Jim Bob getting up on the stand, lying about what his son did. Outrage. But this, you know, had the child gotten hurt, then I could understand. Outrage. Had the child gotten hurt. People being upset. Because, you know, we all make mistakes. Sometimes, unfortunately, those mistakes, they do end badly. And, you know, you have to be held accountable when that happens. And it's not to say that people can't be upset about it. We can be upset that this happened because it put the child in potential danger. But I think as humans, we can give her just a little bit of grace because we've all made mistakes. Now, also, we know that Amy Duggar King, she came to Jana's defense as well, but not before throwing shade at her. I got to point that out. In my other video, I talked about this as well. She threw shade at her at first by making that post about everything that her and her son had done that day, Amy, you know, and said, one thing I won't be doing is falling asleep. But then she kind of backtracked on it and act like it was just a coincidence that everybody had just found out that Jana had gotten this citation for child endangerment, and that the rumors were that she fell asleep. Amy knew that. She made that post. She got a ton of backlash. So then she was like, oh, no, it must have been a coincidence. And then she said, I will call out what is right and I will call out what is wrong. This couldn't have been intentional. I bet you were exhausted, stressed, and just emotionally worn out. Watching multiple kids is hard because there's so many of them and you only have 2 eyes. It's a very sad situation going on, and my heart goes out to @Jana Duggar. Love you. So I am glad to see that she come back and she sent, you know, Jana Duggar some positive vibes, and just said, you know, that it could happen. Watching a lot of kids is hard. But, you know, Amy got some backlash. Someone was like, hey, you got 1 kid. You have to watch 1 kid. She was watching multiple kids. So, you know, it was after that she made this post acting like it was a coincidence. So that, I don't know. I don't really like that she did that. Like throwing shade at Jana for no apparent reason. I don't know. But you guys, I'm glad that Jana, she was able to tell her side and let us all know, like, yes, I turned my back and one of the children slipped out. Everything ended fine. The child was not hurt. And, you know, I feel bad. Of course she does. So you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys think she should get a ton of heat over this? Or do you guys think like it's a simple mistake? She shouldn't. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.